What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense, and today we're talking Vin Diesel. Hit the like button as the intro plays, because this one there's some weird twist to this one as well. We got to talk about it.
I was listening to Make It Make Sense. Shout out to Make It Make Sense. Thank you.
Make sense to me intellectually.
Person I follow, what is it called? Make It Make Sense. There's a little guy. Make It Make Sense.
Are you being nice tonight?
Make sense. You knew what was up. Feel like, well, damn, if you ain't gonna be no chase, what the hell could you got?
Big moves. Surfer. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
I don't know who you are.
Use your common sense. Stop it. Y'all quit playing. Quit playing. Y'all, I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me.
I'm gonna keep. Everybody thinks I owe him something. Show me the receipt. You get paid in 24 hours.
Welcome, WK. We definitely are a dysfunctional family around here. This family is called the Straight Shooters, so welcome to the family. Okay, y'all. I had never heard anything about Vin Diesel, but when Vanity Fair comes out with something, you know, there is usually some credence to what they are saying. So it says Vin Diesel accused of battery in a lawsuit by former assistant. So that was the first thing I saw. So y'all know I had to actually pull the records. But before we get into the records, I want to show you something because this is kind of strange to me. So Vin Diesel, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Vin Diesel has a long-time partner. Her name is Paloma Jimenez. Very pretty lady. You know, most of these men with all of these horrible issues have very beautiful wives and or girlfriends. However, let me give you the info on her first, and then I'll show you the weird thing. So right here, it says, as one of the world's biggest action stars, Vin Diesel has become a household name, blah, blah, blah. And his partner, Paloma Jimenez, has been by his side through it all. The actor is best known, and we know what he's known for, but just Fast and the Furious. He's had some other major blockbusters, but Fast and the Furious is what he is definitely known for. Diesel and Jimenez were first romantically linked in 2007, and the pair have since welcomed 3 children. Similis, Vincent, and Pauline. Aside from their occasional red carpet appearance, the couple keep their relationship relatively private and off social media. The model herself maintains a very low profile and does not have a social media, but it's clear Diesel has a lot of love for her and the family. So basically, he has this woman since 2007. They have 3 children, but he has not married her. She was born in Acapulco and worked as a model prior to her relationship. She was the cover girl for Maxim in 2005 and Mexico in 2006. She walked multiple runways, including spring, summer. They keep a very low profile. Now, here's the deal. This is his partner. This is the accuser. Sorry, not her. This is the accuser. Sorry, that last picture was Claudia Jordan. I was working on another story earlier. I see some similarities between the accuser and the actual wife. Bone structure, both are very pretty ladies. This is the accuser, their plaintiff, I should say. Her name is Asta. She's been in the business, but I definitely see similarities between her and the wife. Let me see what you guys are saying. No, Claudia is not the person. I'm working another story, not Claudia. But you guys can put in the comments if you see the similarities. Let's see what you guys are saying. They could be sisters. Okay. We got the eyes. So technically, she is a baby mama. He definitely has a type. Okay, so you guys are seeing what I'm saying. I feel like these two ladies look similar. Not what about his boyfriend? Y'all are messy. Y'all are messy. Allegedly. I don't know that that man has a boyfriend. Maybe cousins. Okay, so you guys seen it. Before we got into the lawsuit, I wanted to see if it was just me or if, you know, if you guys saw it as well. So, okay, you guys kind of see what I'm saying. This lawsuit was definitely a little bit harder to pull, but I ended up getting it. So, okay. Let me know if you guys can see it. Okay, we're good to go. It says Asta Johnson versus Vin Diesel. His real name is Mark. Ms. Johnson is a dedicated TV and film professional who has worked in the film industry for over a decade. In September 2010, Ms. Johnson was hired by One Race as an assistant working directly for Vin Diesel. You know, of course there will be a trigger warning with this because it is the actual complaint. So if any of this type of stuff actually bothers you, definitely this may not be the video for you. But as always, I will make sure that I'm not saying anything that, you know, I'm not saying anything. I'm going to take out a few things just to make sure that we stay in compliance. But this is the actual complaint. If you are new to the channel, definitely hit that like button and subscribe. We are literally this close to hitting 100,000. When I say we, it's because we, the straight shooters, we are a dysfunctional family around here. So it says her first assignment was to immediately travel to the location for filming for the Fast Five, the fifth movie in the Fast and Furious film franchise. Ms. Jonathan quickly got to work organizing parties and catering to Vin Diesel's demands, including staying in close physical proximity to Vin Diesel when he was at parties without his longtime girlfriend with whom he had children, because as he explained, it would provide him with cover if he was photographed with another woman. So right away, we just saw his beautiful model partner / baby mama, but he's telling this woman that looks like her to stand close to him because it would provide him a certain amount of cover if he was actually with another woman. She's spilling all Vin's tea. And good for you, ma'am. Let us know all the details. I'm here for it. But you see, there was, I told you, there is a similar look to both ladies, his baby mama and his assistant. One night, Ms. Johansson was dutifully fulfilling her work duties, including ensuring no photographs were taken of Vin Diesel, who was entertaining multiple women in the Empire Suite of his luxury hotel. Although Vin Diesel had personal security, only Ms. Johansson remained in the hotel suite so the women felt more comfortable. So you're using her not only as a shield for photographers, but to make the other women who you're cheating on your wife or your baby mama with, making you feel comfortable. Again, these are all allegations that Mrs. Johansson has said about him. That's all we know so far. These are just her allegations, her side of the story. After the last woman left in the early hours of the morning, Ms. Johnson was tasked with ushering Vin Diesel out of the hotel before dawn to avoid him being photographed and the paparazzi being alerted of his whereabouts. Alone in the hotel suite with him, Vin Diesel assaulted Ms. Johnson. So I want to actually give you the complaint, like the full complaint. General factual allegations. Ms. Johnson is a dedicated professional that has worked in the film industry for over a decade. After attending a year-long program at a film school, Ms. Johnson gained experience working in the industry, including 2 film production companies and 2 ultra-high net worth actors. Due to this experience, in 2010, Ms. Johnson was referred to interview for a position at One Race. In approximately August or September 2010, One Race interviewed Ms. Johnson at its office in Beverly Hills. Thyril Thai, director of marketing and merchandising, interviewed Ms. Jonathan and recorded the interview using a professional camera and tripod. Ty assured Ms. Jonathan the recording was for the benefit of Samantha Vincent, president of One Race and Vin Diesel's sister. Ms. Jonathan later learned that Vin Diesel would say that if something is not on video, then it did not happen. During her interview hiring and throughout her employment, Ms. Jonathan was led to believe that she would be assisting film production for the 5th installment of the Fast and the Furious film franchise, Fast 5. That's a lot of Fs. At one time, One Race hired Ms. Jonathan on or about September 2nd, 2010. Fast 5 was in production in Atlanta, Georgia. Vincent contacted Ms. Jonathan, instructed her to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and asked her how soon she could fly out to Atlanta. Eager to assist in the film production, Ms. Jonathan communicated her immediate availability. One Race purchased a flight ticket for Ms. Jonathan to arrive in Atlanta on or about the very next day. These NDAs are something that we are seeing throughout. That seems to be the go-to. You're hired, NDA. You're hired, NDA. You're hired, NDA. When Ms. Jonathan arrived in Atlanta, she was greeted by another female employee who was also on location for Fast 5, and in contradiction to the representations made during her hiring process, Ms. Jonathan was informed that she would largely be assisting with projects personal to Vin Diesel and his family rather than the film production. Ms. Jonathan addressed this contradiction with another person who, on information and belief, was a supervisor at One Race and was assured that she would be included in the film production. So that's important, guys, because she wants that IMDb credit. She wants to be able to say that she worked for a specific movie as opposed to being someone's assistant. Let's see. On or about September 3rd, 2020, Ms. Jonathan was requested to join Vin Diesel's family at their Buckhead rental property. There, Ms. Jonathan was tasked with planning a Labor Day barbecue for the Fast 5 cast and above-line film crew members. Vin Diesel's partner, Paloma Jimenez, told Ms. Jonathan that the food servers at the barbecue must all be beautiful women. What? So, it's Hollywood, right? Like, it's Hollywood. You can say what you want, do what you want, but I'm surprised that she's not thinking, wow, you just hired an assistant that looks like me. Understanding her assignment, Ms. Jonathan also contracted an attractive female celebrity chef for the barbecue. The barbecue, now remember, guys, if you are new to the channel, I went in on the lawsuit between Diddy's personal chef and him. And that was a whole big expose. If you want to, you can, I will link that at the end of this video, but I wonder what it feels like if you are good at your job, but you're relegated to just being a pretty face. That has to be extremely insulting. The barbecue, which took place on September 6, 2010, was attended by high-profile guests. Ms. Jonathan received uniformly positive feedback on her performance in setting up the event. During the filming, Vin Diesel had multiple rooms at the St. Regis Hotel in Atlanta. Now, if you don't know where the St. Regis is, the St. Regis is the hotel that Phaedra said Shamia was going to meet up men to get bags and shoes. Allegedly, the St. Regis Hotel is where it all goes down with high-end people in Atlanta. Now, that's what Phaedra said. I don't know if that's true. I have been to a St. Regis, but it is not the one in Atlanta. During the filming, Vin Diesel also had multiple rooms at the St. Regis Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia, including the hotel's most upscale room, the Empire Suite. On or about September 8, 2020, Ms. Jonathan, Vin Diesel, another supervisor, and a female acquaintance of Ms. Jonathan were making conversation in the Empire Suite. Vin Diesel and Ms. Jonathan's acquaintance began speaking privately in the master bedroom. The other supervisor then instructed Ms. Jonathan to follow him out of the Empire Suite. At the time, Ms. Jonathan believed the supervisor intended to provide privacy for Vin Diesel and Ms. Jonathan's female acquaintance. However, the supervisor continued entreating Ms. Jonathan to follow him until they reached his hotel room. When Ms. Jonathan entered the room, the lights were off and the supervisor did not move to turn the lights on. Instead, the supervisor took off his shirt and got into his bed and said, "Come here," to Miss Jonathan. Appalled, Miss Jonathan immediately exited the room and the hotel. But what about her friend? On or about September 10th, 2010, a supervisor instructed Ms. Jonathan to go to the Havana Club in Atlanta as part of her work duties. When Ms. Jonathan arrived at the nightclub, Vin Diesel was surrounded by club hostesses and approximately 2 of his private security personnel. Vin Diesel drank throughout the night and continued to socialize with multiple female hostesses, each dressed in lingerie-inspired outfits. Jonathan did not drink alcohol as she was on the clock. In the early hours of the morning, Vin Diesel and his security left the club to return to the St. Regis Hotel. Now, remember, guys, his family was staying at a, I guess like an Airbnb type estate in Buckhead. But let's see, hold on. Let's see, how far is that? How far is the St. Regis Hotel Atlanta from Buckhead, Atlanta? Y'all, I can't make this up. Look at this. It's 6 minutes away. You are going to a hotel 6 minutes away from the estate that you're renting with your family. You can't make this up. Okay, let's get back. Okay. So in the early hours of the morning, Vin Diesel and his security left the club to return to the St. Regis Hotel. Approximately 4 or 5 hostesses from the nightclub returned with Vin Diesel to the hotel. However, Miss Jonathan's work for the night was not complete. Miss Jonathan was told to return to the hotel to continue working. Miss Jonathan arrived at the St. Regis at the same time as one of Vin Diesel's security guards. As both were heading toward the hotel elevator, another of Vin Diesel's security guards instructed that only Miss Jonathan was to continue up to the suite. When Miss Jonathan entered the Empire Suite, she observed Vin Diesel, 1 security guard, and approximately 5 hostesses from the nightclub. Quickly thereafter, the lone security guard exited the room. You see how these people have like a network of staff that are doing their dirty work? You see that? She was going up with the security guard. They stopped her and said, no, only she can go. She gets up there. There's a security guard. And then once she's up there, he has to leave. These like wealthy people are protected at all costs, it seems like. On information and belief, the security guard was instructed to leave so the hostesses would feel more comfortable around Vin Diesel. At one point, Vin Diesel told Miss Jonathan that she should have stayed close to him at the club so that if he had been secretly photographed with the hostesses, Vin Diesel would have had the cover that his assistant was also in the photo. Then Vin Diesel and one of the nightclub hostesses retreated to the main bedroom for an extended period of time. The other hostesses remained in the living room of the suite with Miss Jonathan for some time. Eventually, all but one hostess left the living room, apparently tired of waiting for Vin Diesel to reappear. After a significant period of time, Ms. Jonathan received a phone call from Vin Diesel's security stating that Vin Diesel was not answering his cell phone and that he needed to immediately leave the hotel. Then the hostess exited the bedroom, leaving the door open, joined her waiting coworker, and both exited the hotel suite. Still tasked with ushering Vin Diesel out of the hotel, Ms. Jonathan entered the main bedroom to find Vin Diesel lying clothed, sideways on the bed, with his cell phone on the dresser. Ms. Jonathan stood at the side of the bed near Vin Diesel's feet and informed Vin Diesel that his security team had called, urged him to answer his phone, and that it was time to leave the hotel. As she did so, Ms. Jonathan picked up Vin Diesel's phone from the dresser and motioned for him to take it. Instead of taking the phone, Vin Diesel grabbed Ms. Jonathan's wrist, one with each of his hands, and pulled her onto the bed. Ms. Jonathan landed on the bed facing Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel entrapped Ms. Jonathan in a bear hug as she immediately tried to escape his grasp and get off the bed. Now, this other lady then just left. And also now this woman it seems like she's working a lot of hours because she works her normal work day. Then she's told she has to go to the club. Now she's in there waiting, I guess, to make sure none of these hostesses are stealing from Vin Diesel. And now it's morning, I guess, and it's time for him to leave, or because she said it's been a long time. And now he's doing this to her. Negla, thank you so much for the super chat. Says an NDA cannot indemnify you from criminal acts. And more people are realizing that. Thank you so much for the super chat, Negla. Let's see. Okay. Where are we? Vin Diesel entrapped Miss Jonathan in a bear hug as she immediately tried to escape his grasp and get off the bed. Miss Jonathan tried to de-escalate the situation, telling Vin Diesel to stop while continuing to attempt to wrest free of Vin Diesel's grasp. Eventually, Miss Jonathan was able to squirm away from Vin Diesel's embrace and took the opportunity to drop Vin Diesel's cell phone into a pocket of his cargo shorts, expecting that Vin Diesel would refuse to take the cell phone if she offered to him again. Ms. Jonathan then ran out of the bedroom and stood by the front door of the suite for Vin Diesel to gather himself and leave. Shortly thereafter, Vin Diesel left the bedroom and began walking toward Ms. Jonathan. Ms. Jonathan hoped he would leave without any further incident, and Ms. Jonathan instantly reached for the door so Vin Diesel would exit the suite. Vin Diesel immediately stated, "Don't open that door." Ms. Jonathan followed his instructions, unsure if Vin Diesel was still intoxicated and growing increasingly concerned that he would not leave. Vin Diesel then approached Ms. Jonathan. This is where definitely trigger warning, guys. Vin Diesel then approached Ms. Jonathan, forcibly hugged her, and continued to embrace her for an extended period of time. Ms. Jonathan was extremely uncomfortable but felt powerless to stop Vin Diesel. So if you were just coming in here, I showed everybody that personally, I think Ms. Jonathan looks very similar to his wife. So this is the plaintiff. This is the woman who is suing. This is not wife, girlfriend / baby mama. This is the girlfriend / baby mama who was the girlfriend at the time of this alleged incident. Let's see. Ms. Jonathan was extremely uncomfortable but felt powerless to stop Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel was her supervisor, was physically larger and stronger than Ms. Jonathan, and Ms. Jonathan was afraid for her personal safety and job security if she were to anger him. Vin Diesel proceeded to grope Ms. Jonathan's body, including her chest, and forcibly kiss Ms. Jonathan, who continually pleaded with him to stop. Vin Diesel ignored her pleas and started to kiss Ms. Jonathan's chest and collarbone. Ms. Jonathan was afraid to more forcibly refuse her supervisor, knowing that getting him out of that room was both crucial to her personal safety and job security. Both this hope died when Vin Diesel dropped to his knees, pushed Ms. Jonathan's dress up toward her waist, and took advantage of her, running his hands over the legs and thighs. At the time that he got to her undergarments, she screamed. And in a panic, ran down the hallway towards the bathroom, knocking Vin Diesel to the floor. Vin Diesel then stood up and walked over to Ms. Jonathan, pinned her to the wall with the left side of his body, and again began to assault her. Vin Diesel then grabbed Ms. Jonathan's left hand and placed it. Okay, well, we can't say that. Placed it on the eggplant. Okay, so there's certain things that I'm not going to read, guys. I'm just scanning over it to make sure that. So she pulled her hand away and she refused. He ignored her. Then, okay. So she's trying to de-escalate it. He's now taking it even further. Then he started making groaning noises. Then he released her. Went into the bathroom. Okay, so what she's alleging here is he basically got off And then once he was done, he went and rinsed off. So to me, it sounds like there was, again, the running theme is power struggle. He removed her power, her ability to say no. And then once he had taken that power from her, he was done. Ms. Jonathan was in complete shock, unable to move and feeling stuck to the wall. Vin Diesel then exited the bathroom and looked at Ms. Jonathan and said, no one can say SHIT about Shasta, walking past her as he left the suite. On information and belief, Vin Diesel was referencing that Ms. Johnson was not an easy or willing conquest, including her prior refusal to engage in relations with another supervisor. Okay, so now I get it. The supervisor had tried something and she left. So I guess this is just from what I'm reading. It was like, okay, you couldn't get her. I'm going to try to get her. And even though she said no, he still tried, but was unsuccessful in completing the act or making her a willing participant. So how disgusting is that? You just took advantage of somebody and now you're basically like you're giving her a pat on the shoulder. Well, nobody can say anything about you. To me, that sounds like they were trying to groom her together from the beginning. And it was, let's see who can get her. That's disgusting. We got another super chat. Sassy Girl, thank you so much. It says, I'm going to have my alarm clock to catch your lives now. Congratulations on your 90K plus. Thank you so much, Sassy Girl. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's pretty. I did. Like, I'm sitting here really thinking, y'all, nobody can say about Asta. Were y'all taking bets? Keep in mind, this is her employer, her supervisor, and the person who she actually directly works for. As she stood there alone in the suite, Ms. Jonathan suddenly felt a mix of relief that the assault was over and panic, and her heart felt like it was about to explode out of her chest. Unexpectedly, Vin Diesel returned, and Ms. Jonathan felt instantaneous terror. Vin Diesel asked for his phone, and Ms. Jonathan managed to respond that the phone was in his pocket. Vin Diesel responded, "Good job," and finally exited the hotel suite. Mere hours later, on or about September 11, 2010, Ms. Jonathan was still processing the immediate aftermath of Vin Diesel's assault. Samantha Vincent called Ms. Jonathan and stated that One Race no longer needed any extra help and terminated Jonathan's employment. So just a few hours after he does that, allegedly he calls his sister and says, "We're done with her." What? Like, you're just nothing, like trash. I can just use you as a napkin and toss you away because you didn't give in to my advances. Vincent also stated Ms. Jonathan would be paid for a full 2 weeks of work, even though Ms. Jonathan worked less than 2 weeks. Ms. Jonathan had previously received praise for her work at One Race, and it was clear to her that she was being fired because she was no longer useful. Vin Diesel had used her to fulfill his desires, and she had resisted his assaults. Ms. Jonathan felt like she was a piece of trash to be discarded. Ms. Jonathan felt helpless. Her self-esteem was demolished, and she questioned her own skills and whether a successful career would require her to trade her body for advancement. On information and belief, entity defendants engaged in a cover-up or attempted a cover-up of a previous incident of allegations of assault by an alleged perpetrator for such abuse, including but not limited to using non-disclosure agreements. Prior to filing's action, plaintiff exhausted her administrative remedies by filing a timely administrative complaint with the California Civil Rights Department and receiving a CCRD right to sue letter. We'll have to look into that. Entity defendants engaged in a cover-up or attempted cover of a previous instance. So I didn't see anything under the name. I'm going to have to do another search. I'm disgusted for her. Now, this woman does, like, let me show you. I have her information. She is a professional woman in the business. She has worked on, like, she has an IMDb. Let me show you. Okay, so this is her. She has a career in this. Production staff, assistant to producer, media producer. But you see what's not listed. The Fast and the Furious. So they didn't give her credit for her work there. That's trash. That's definitely trash. Let's get back to the lawsuit. So these were all we don't have to go through all the causes of action, but I can let you know that these are the things she's suing for. Discrimination in violation of the FEHA, hostile work environment in violation of the FEHA, retaliation in violation of the FEHA, failure to prevent discrimination, harassment, and retaliation in violation of labor code, retaliation in violation of labor code, wrongful termination in violation of public policy, battery, negligent supervision and retention, intentional infliction of emotional distress. I think she has a case and he better settle. I definitely think she has a case. So, guys, I was actually working on a whole nother video when this news broke. So there's some stuff about TD Jakes. I'll break that down in that video. That one will probably have to come tomorrow because there's a lot of twists. And I like to bring you guys factual stuff that I have found. And I think I have an idea about why TD Jakes is even in this. But I got some stuff on Christian Keys and some stuff on TD Jakes, and I'm working something else on Diddy. So it's a lot, but I probably will bring that to you tomorrow. If you are new to the channel, definitely subscribe. Like I said, we are super close to our 100,000 subscribers. So I'm very appreciative. Again, I'm extremely humbled. And if you would be so kind as to like the video on the way out. YouTube has been playing with your boy. Again, demonetizing content. And I even got a copyright that I had to get corrected, but you know, whatever. I'm going to still bring you the stories regardless. Neglis, I wish that these lawsuits would make it to court quicker. I'm with you. I haven't pulled up other lawsuits and complaints that she had, but I don't know that is necessarily, it doesn't really tie into this, but let's just say she's had a tough go of it. I've seen some of her other court cases. So anyway, guys, you have a great one. I'm going to see you guys later. I hope to have that other video with the TD Jake stuff and the Christian Key stuff out to you at the latest by tomorrow morning. So you guys have a good one.